Hello everyone and welcome back to my another video. In that new video or lesson, we are going to learning about Docker. And Docker is a containers that is store the code in the container. So we know about the Docker, what is Docker and how it works, and also we install the Docker and Node.js. Node.js is the Docker main thing that we run the in Visual Studio Code. Also, we need to install the Visual Studio Code and extension Docker. So let's get started into about our Docker video. Firstly, we need to open our Google Chrome, and then I say you what is Docker and how it works. Now, Docker is the container, means that is a box. This is a box and it has code, means I write C++. This is the container. This box is the container, and that container has the code. In that code C++. So what should I do? I do that. See, I do that. That is this container. Name is Docker. Docker. Okay. Okay. That is Docker. Okay, I do not write that in that computer. So that is the Docker that store the code. So we need to install the code. And how store the Docker? Docker PS. Docker PS is the thing that is showing the image. So that I say that box is the container of the Docker, and that is the code that's set into that container. So now we go to install the Docker in our website too, in our computer. Minimum space is 16 gigabyte of RAM, and Windows 10 and 11 supported. So and 16 byte. Docker main thing is 4 gigabyte of RAM space. It has clear that more than enough. We go to that website and see the information. So Docker, enter. Now this is the Docker official site. You see in the top. Now click that option, and then we go to download Docker desktop. If you have the Mac Apple Silicon, you install that. If you have Mac Intel chip, you install that. If have Windows AMD 64, where I go, okay. If have Windows AMD 64, you install that. And if have Windows ARM 64, you install that. That function here appear. I have Windows AMD 64, so that I click that. Now that was automatically installed the Docker installer.exe. So I have already Docker installed. So I am going to my file. This is my file. So now downloads. Okay. Now scroll down. I'm scrolling. This is Docker. Minimum 500, 5,000 MB. The Docker installation setup you need it. So when we click the Docker, okay, when I click the Docker, that will be appear that. Wait a bit. Now that Docker see some interface. That interface we download it. Docker desktop installation. Do you want to allow this app make changes to your device? Click yes. Now the Docker will be installed in our computer. If I go to that Docker blog, this Windows AMD 64 and scroll down not products, Docker desktop. Now I am going to the Docker desktop option. Now that is this interface the Docker will become. Okay. We also have kubectl course will become. So now that is the Docker. If you need something, you see also the Docker deployments, and I am making this Docker video because I am know that how that Docker works. So the Docker is saying configuration, use WSL instead Hyper-V. Hyper-V is the processor that recommended in the Docker. If you not click that, you have some few problems in our Docker. So also added shortcut to desktop, allow Windows containers to be used. This installation, no. Only add shortcut to desktop and use WSL2 and OK. Press OK. Now the Docker file will be installing, and then now we need to install the Node.js. Node.js, what is? Node.js is the main thing, means that is the C++ code. C++ code we run to a JavaScript. I am using in that video JavaScript. If you want Python, I also use Python. Okay, EY means Python extension. So that is the Docker main thing. C++ is not used, but JS is used. App.js. JS. App. Okay. App.js. That will be used. This is the file name app, and last digit .js means JavaScript. I have no few things about JavaScript, so let me install the Docker and let me run the Docker, how the Docker how the Docker works. Now the Docker is installing, or yes, unpacking the Docker files. Now we need to see the Node.js that will be works. Now why the Node.js is mainly in fronted of the Docker. So if it is the main thing of the Docker, so how that Node.js works? Node is the main command of to run the Node.js. Node hyphen app name / I call it / means I do not have file. If have file, so if app.js is the application, we write node and app.js. This app.js, okay, right? This app.js and app.js. This app.js, node app.js. Firstly, you need to save it. Now that time, save when it saved node app.js. When we write that, then enter it, the node automatically configured to the Docker and hit into the Docker configuration file, and the Docker will be run it. So we know about that Node.js, how the Node.js works. Now we download the Node.js firstly. Now go to that Node.js, firstly homepage. Now click that Node.js, and here is the get Node.js option. Click that get Node.js option. Now you select that Docker, because recommended is Docker. We are running into the Docker container. So that's why the Node.js we recommended to use in the Docker file, because it will be not cost, means cost in our Docker. Docker minimum MB is 4 GB or 8 GB. 4 GB is not better, 8 GB is better. So now install the Windows installer MSI. Click that. If you are Mac, now this Mac OS Linux X. If you select Mac OS, now you select this option. I am Windows, so I select this option. Now the Node.js is installing. I have Node.js installed firstly. So the Node.js is installing firstly. So I open that node this. Okay, click there. Now the Node.js is loading firstly. Now it is this. Welcome to the Node.js setup wizard. Next, I accept terms license agreement. Next, I change the directory because my local disk directory is full of folder name, create folder, new folder, node, hi, okay. Now, okay. Now, next. Now, that package will be installed. Next. No, do not tick that. If you tick that, all of the file will be installed of Node.js. We recommended you to not tick that. If you tick that, you will all of the files Node.js like Chocolatey will be installed. So next, install. Now the Node.js say that, do you want to allow this app to make changes to your device? Node.js. Click yes. Now the Node.js will be installed. Now our Docker is installed. So close it. I closed. Now wait a bit. Okay. Now our copying new files. The Node.js is copying new files. Now when the Node.js completed, we go to that Docker. This icon will become Docker desktop. Now double click that Docker desktop. If you see that bar, like where is Node.js? This is okay. What I do? Cross it. Okay. Now when I double click the Docker desktop, if I double click the Docker desktop, now the icon will become where if the icon will be not come, then we go to that option, a CMD option. Now Windows, Linux, macOS, all of the interface, this taskbar will become, this icon will become Docker. Now we select that accept icon, means the Docker acceptable. Now our Docker say something, welcome to Docker login. So I have a Docker account. So that's why I click Google and then it is loading. Now I deleted that. Proceed to Docker desktop, open Docker desktop. Now Google is thinking. Now this will become starting the Docker engine. Firstly, you need to install the WSL. If you not installed, if you not installed the WSL, then it might not work. The Docker engine will be not pop up. It say restart your application. Then what you do? CMD, type CMD, enter. Now when comes, we say WSL minus version. Now this is the WSL version. The Docker and the WSL version will become automatically if the Docker installed. Docker minus V means Docker version. If the Docker is not installed, this will be not come. Docker minus version. Okay. This will become, okay. You need to, the Docker is starting Docker engine is underlying technology that run containers. I said that in that micro, Docker is a engine, means I select the pen. Docker is an engine, means a box that runs containers. This is the container. See, container. This is the container. And that stored the codes like Python, C++, JavaScript. Okay. Okay. Eraser. I remove that. Okay. all user. Okay, now done. Now I click the pen icon. Now Docker is the technology that run containers. He stored the codes like Python, JavaScript, Matplotlib, not Matplotlib is Python's library, like JavaScript, Python, HTML, CSS, all of the things. Is Docker is the king and Python is the assistant. Docker is the and Kubernetes is the restaurant and Docker is the hotel. Okay. Next course, we come into the Kubernetes. So this container is loading inside the Docker is loading inside the container, this container. So that's why starting the Docker engine. Now, when the Docker comes, we see that some functions like images, volumes, containers, builds, Kubernetes. Okay. If we enable the Kubernetes, we start to work in the Kubernetes. We do not enable that Kubernetes because we learn the Docker firstly, then we enable the Kubernetes. I have a beginner course of Kubernetes in my Discord server. If you want to join my Discord server, link below in the description. So now how to image means import image in that Docker. If you don't know how to image means how to import image in the Docker, so write command. Firstly, I pull the Docker means firstly I pull the image, Docker image. If I say Docker PS, this is the running container will become in this Docker PS command if I input it. Like that, I pull the Docker. If I pull the Docker, like pull Docker pull name Ubuntu. Ubuntu is the Docker. This is the command Docker pull, and this is a name Ubuntu. So enter it. Now when I enter that, the Docker. When I enter that, the Docker, what he do the all of the data will be come into my directory means images. So why the Docker is needed? The Docker is the main thing. If anyone hack my website, I can restore the website. So the Docker container is a king and that stores the data. So when the Docker images means pull images complete and we see a Ubuntu image. So that is the image we pulled a function name Ubuntu. This is the tag latest. This is the image ID. This is the image. If I remove the file, we need this image ID. Now go to images created 3 months ago. This is the wrong date. Size this MB. Okay. Now if I run this file into container, so what I do Docker run it not Docker run Ubuntu. Okay. If I run the Ubuntu file, so you see that the green button will become green icon will become means this Ubuntu container, this Ubuntu image is using. If I go to container, a random container will become. This is the Ubuntu container. You see that image Ubuntu. This is the image Ubuntu. It is online now. Now we need to do a sum. If I go to that Ubuntu root access, so what I do, Docker run -it Ubuntu. Okay, now I enter it. Now when I enter it, we see that we come to the Ubuntu root main access file. If I write that ls, this will become, if I type cd dot dot and ls, this will become, okay. This is the operating system of the Ubuntu. If I delete the Ubuntu, and now we see that Docker ps, if I run that now, Docker ps, if any images, okay. Oh, we are enter the root access file. So we do not enter that main Ubuntu root access file Docker ps. We firstly exit it by root access. In that root access, how to exit it? Type exit and enter. Now we come to our page, means main administrator. This is the Ubuntu, means image administrator, and we come to the swapping to admin main administrator. Now we do that Docker ps. Now why the container is not running? Because we are not using it in the container. So how do we use into the container? We use that Docker. Firstly, we need to remove that container. If I remove a container like Docker rm, okay, rm minus rf, Docker rf not, Docker rm, and what I do, firstly I need to Docker images. Now this is the Ubuntu image. If I remove this image, firstly what I do, firstly we need to remove the container. So what I do, Docker rm, this id, container id, okay. Oh no, Docker minus r, okay, Ubuntu latest name, okay. Guys, that is not working because the container is not deleting. This another container has come, so I need to delete it first, okay. If I not delete in that side, I can go to that Docker, this Docker desktop and containers and delete it, okay. Now when I go to images, you can see that unused, means we are not using that image. Now what we do, Docker rm, this Ubuntu latest, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. Okay, that have some error. If I want to remove the file, so what we do, firstly we need to delete in this, because this happen in my computer every time. So now when that Ubuntu means Ubuntu image as removed, then what we do, Docker pull, and then my image is Papia Gamers Pythons, okay. Now this is my image I created sometimes ago, pulling images. Now my images are pulling. This might take a minutes, so guys wait a few more moments, then we see the magic. So this is completing. So I want to another PowerShell, okay. Now I come to the Windows PowerShell. This is installing. Now I open this another Windows PowerShell. Now I do that Docker pull not Docker. Firstly we need to create a directory. I am Now I am going to Visual Studio Code and enter the data. So mk directory means my directory, coding, write small. If you not write small, the Docker container will be not run. And also the Docker not build some. Enter mkdir coding. Our mkdir coding is named. Now what we do, another file, another Windows PowerShell node. We now open the Windows command prompt. Now we do cd coding. Okay, we into the coding drive, means coding file drive. CD means CI/CD, continuous integrate continuous delivery. We continuous delivery to this folder. So in this folder we do code dot enter. Now then what they do, they open my coding app like VS Code. I installed. What coding I installed means what extension like VS Code I install, the VS Code will be open. Now you see that all of the VS Code icon means writing will become bigger. But when I click that coding option, I see the main directory means main file coding. Now I do how to build a Docker container. So if we run into the Docker container, okay, I erase all of that. I do not need. Okay. Now, if we do, okay. Now, if we need to install not build a Docker container, firstly, we need to rename it app dot anything, JS, PY, and HTML. Okay, HTML. Okay, now I am using the JavaScript code. So if I code JavaScript, like I open the Visual Studio Code firstly. Now, if I write app.js, enter. Now, what we do that, we need to code something. Like I code that const express, small code, express is equals to require express. Okay. Now, const app is equals to express. Now, another const port is equals to, this is, we run into a web server. So const port process dot environment dot port. We const it to port. So that's why we write into that port. If we not write into the port will be not come. Now these 2 lines and 300, 3000, 300 not 3000. Now semicolon it, and then what we do, app.get this slash comma request is request and receptions. Now arrow, this arrow, now bracket and enter. Now res means resistant dot send. What we send? We send the express is running. Okay. Now another, we semicolon it, or will be not work. This port will be not work. Now another is app dot listen. Okay. What we listen? Port. We created this const port. We listen that port, comma req request receptions, and then arrow, another arrow, this, and then second bracket, and enter. And what we do that console.log, this icon, and then server is running on $port. Okay, this is a app.js thing. Now we created a simple JavaScript. File name is Dockerfile. Okay. Now enter it. Now it say something. You install the firstly Docker. How to install in this Visual Studio Code extension. If you install it, so Control Shift X. When you click that press that Control Shift X, you enter directly go to that extension. So now when we come, we search Docker. Now this will become Docker installation. You install the Docker and restart the Visual Studio Code. Now we need to some code into the Docker to build it, the code. We created this code. So firstly, we need to save it, Control S means save, and then click that three dot icon, terminal, new terminal. Okay. Now you need to know the Git and GitHub. Then you can easily know what is Nano, what is Node. Node is basically Docker's main thing of that. Now what we do, Node app.js. If I click that, this will happen. Now what will I firstly do? Firstly, I clear it. That will be error. Now we need to do a thing, that is npm. We install the Node.js into the npm init -y. Okay. Now it takes time to create the folders. Now the packages.file will become now npm I. Okay. Now it takes time. Now this packages log.json will become clear another npm I. Okay, done. Now what we do, Control S, save it. Now node app.js. Now this module not be found express. So we need to install the express. So what we do, npm install express. Okay. Now the express will be installed. Wait a few minutes to install the express. It will take time. So now this will become node modules, means the express will be installed. Now when the express is installed, save it another time by pressing Ctrl S. Now node app.js. Now see a magic, like, wait a minute, this server is, and now this will become, do you want to allow public private networks to access this app? Allow. Now when we allow that, we directly go to the website, directly go to not website. We go to that website, new tab it, local, right, localhost 3000, and you see that express is running. I write that in that code, this express is running. So that's why the local host work. If you want to a public local host, so comment below. I will be make a public local host. Now I will be make this website to public local host by using Cloudflare. Now, when it's done, we go to the Docker file. Now, from is thing that is what from we use the what we install the node.js. Means we input that node from node colon alpine is thing of that node. This is the many things of alpine. Now from alpine copy dot this drive means this folder, copy dot means this folder slash what we install app.js. We not install app, we make the code in that app.js copy. Okay, now this done. Copy app.js not app. Now we do work dir /app. Now we need to command it to build it. So cmd node this node comma what we coded app.js in JavaScript. Okay, now this is the thing. Also dot slash packages package.json star dot. Okay, that will be not work. So that's the command from node alpine copy app. Copy app means this app.js work dir /app cmd nodes app.js. Now we copy that firstly. Now we delete that git bash, another git bash or Ubuntu. Now I use Ubuntu. Now nano. Firstly nano it to nano Dockerfile. Now enter it. Now Control V means paste it. Control O, enter. Control X. If you not inserted into that Docker file, your code, if you not enter this code into this nano Docker file, your code and build will be not working. So write the code and listen to my voice. Now what we do, firstly we need to Docker login. I have an account, so I already logged into my Docker login account. So wait a bit. Now when it's done, it said login success. If you see that Docker login and it said anything code, you input the code and your login will be successed. Now you do Docker build -t code main. I call it code main. Now and then enter it. -t means what? -t means stack. Sorry, Docker. What directory we used? We use this coding directory. Docker build -stack coding main dot means this directory. Enter. Now the Docker will be built. This will happen. Building Docker. This is doing some library installing. So wait a bit to install that alpine node alpine and copy that app.js this JavaScript file we created. Wait for a bit. Now when it's done, we go to that, open our browser. Now we write that hub.docker.com. Now enter it. If you not type that, you do not come to this page. Now sign in. I have already used username as pn05@gmail.com. So when it's done, my Docker Hub will become. This is my images. You can use it. This is my Papia Cloud hosting images. This is Papia Gamer's Node app. I created a Node app. Matplotlib, Python, Snake game. I also created the Snake game. You can also use it. Okay. Go to that hub.docker.com and search into the Docker Hub Papia Gamers. And you can see that. Now and then click create a repository name, coding main. Okay. Now I will public it. If you use that, you can also use it. I code it in that Docker. Now that is loading. Now that's done. Now what I do, this is my Papia Gamer /coding man. I created into the Docker. That will be same. This my all completed. That will be same. Docker build minus coding main. If not same, the container and tag will be not come, and you cannot pull this code. If you want to pull my code or something, and if you want to build with me, then you should do docker build minus t your name not, you select a name and last is space and dot and enter it. And firstly, you need to you create a Dockerfile, and firstly you need to create a Dockerfile, and then you need to do this code, and then open the WSL or Ubuntu or Git, and then write nano Dockerfile, same this like Dockerfile. Now when you do, enter it and paste it, and then what you do, Control O and enter and Control X. Control O means write and enter. Enter means the write will be complete, and Control X means you will be exited. Okay. You paste this code, You paste this code, and then you need to Control O, enter Control X. Now when done, what you do, docker build minus t coding op or something dot, then your build will be started. Okay. Now when my docker I created a repository coding main with the same name. If you not give same name, I said that the OS version will become not come, tag will be not come. So now what we do, docker push into the repository name Papia Gamers. Firstly, we need to tag it. Okay. How to tag it? Docker images, enter, and this will become coding main latest. What this size? 57.9 MB. Now coding main, this. You need to copy that ID. Control C, docker tag this ID, Papia Gamers coding main. You can change the version like latest 1.12, 1.16, like I enter it. Okay. This is my wrong. Okay. Docker build minus t coding main. C Control V, enter. Okay. Now I tag to the Docker, and you can see that Python, Papia Gamer Python will be not come. What they come? Now what we do, the Docker is now completed to tag that. Now we do that Docker push Papaya Gamers coding main. Enter it. Now when we enter that, this will be go to that repository we created, coding main. If you created that ID like Papaya Gamer / coding main or anything Jubber / coding main, this is a repository name and this is your username. Okay. Now you can write my code into your notebook or anything else, also in computer's notepad. Now when the push complete, then it is take time because this is 52.17 MB. Okay. Now when the complete, I will become. Then we see the magic. Then the Docker is loading, means the page is loading. So wait for it. Now see that our tag latest OS Linux system image type image less than 1 day about 10 hours is come, means our coding main has been completed and successfully pushed into the Docker hub, means my hub. And if anyone pull my this command, so search at Papaya Gamers. Firstly, I go to explore section and then Papaya Gamers. Now enter it. Now then you can see that I have a lot of Docker images and this is the image I created. When I click that, then you can see that 7 people has used the images I studied. Okay. If you like it, you can start it. So you see that on the way we pull the another person's Docker, another person's pull the Docker. Now we can create the Docker repository, means Docker repository, own Docker repository, and pull into code into this Docker desktop. So now what I do, I copy that Docker pull option. You can also add tag by Docker tag this. I am writing the command Docker tag Docker ID firstly, Docker image ls. Okay. Now when the image is count, now what we do, firstly we need to go to that this Papaya Gamers coding main. Firstly we need to tag that Docker tag this ID, container ID, no, images ID, Docker tag images ID. Now Papaya Gamers coding main, then 1.12 I added this version. Now enter. Now another time Docker push Papaya Gamers coding main clone 1.12. Okay, now when done, then the version will be changed. If any completed, means the push when completed, this push is completed now. Now we can go to our Chrome and then reset it, means this is restore it. Now we can see the magic. This is the recent tag we created 1.12. That's you can change the of the Docker image tag. Now I pull the Docker first. Okay. Now Docker pull this. I created my pool. I pushed the Docker into the Docker hub, and now I can pull it. Now, when I run it into the port, what we do, Docker run it -8, Docker run it -p 3000:3000. And what is that? I'm going to my Chrome and macro. Now it is connection restored. Now what is that? Firstly, know that. Okay. Firstly, you know what is that port binding. Port binding is a binding such as you have a container in the Docker. This like you created a container and you inputted the app.js. Okay, app.js. In the container, you inputted that command app.js. And when you run into the Docker with the port binding, what should you do? You target, when you created a JS file, then you do that into, if you are running into a localhost server in your main computer with Docker pull with my repository, pulling my repository, and also pulling my repository, pull my repository into your Docker desktop, then what you do to run the localhost 3000, then you need to do Docker -p. -p is port. What port we should run? 3000 colon 3000. And when done, we should do what? We should minus name it. Okay, minus name it like your name, example. Okay, example. Okay, now when that task is completed, what we do such as, when the task is completed, minus we firstly you do pull my repository into your Docker desktop, and then what you do, Docker run -p means port 3000:3000, and then name it by minus name, and then name it, and then what you do, you not enter. Okay, then you should go to my repository, and then you select the tag, recent tag, what tag you pulled, then you copy that, copy your gamers coding main, and then last means last tag. I am using the coding main so that last. Okay, I am now coding, you don't know about it, so I am going to my Visual Studio Code firstly. And secondly, now Docker run it. When you pulled my repository, that time you do Docker run -8 -p 3000:3000 minus name. My name is Tasnimul. So Tasnimul, and then what you do, Papia Gamers. What image you pulled? Papia, this image name, Papia Gamers / coding main, and then you enter it. Okay, now that's all you are done. Now that will become server is running on 3000. Now your task will be completed. Then you can use the localhost 3000. By the way, this is my app.js example code. Means this is the mini code. You can also input your Python file. I inputted the Java, so JavaScript. So you can also input HTML, CSS, Python. I choose that Java. If I also build the app1.python, and then repository, I create a repository and then pushed into the Docker hub, then it might will be tag will be latest OS is Linux, so that you can pull my another repository. That's why you can pull the pull your repository push to pull. Okay, that's what called. Okay, now this WSL command is not working right now because we used that last server is running on 3000. Now I go to that git bash. You can use another duplicate WSL. Now then what we do, if we stop the Docker, then if we stop the Docker container, so that we use that command Docker stop what container name. So Docker ps -a, okay, all the container should become, then Docker image Docker stop what container we are using, this container image container ID. Okay, Control C, Control V, this, enter. Now the operation will be completed. 88665CFF means this container is stopped. Now, when I go to containers, then you can see that Tasnimul container. You see that I named it minus name it to Tasnimul, my name. So that this is the name. You can also set the random name. If you not set the name, your name will become random in that container. So that, and you can see that 3000:3000 come. We added the code -p using. So that's why we off the container. Also, if we remove the container, means not remove the container, remove the images. So what we do, Docker images, firstly. Now the Docker images will come. Now what should I do? Docker push not Docker RMI this container ID. Okay. Why I am removing? Because I do not need. I already stored. Now Docker RMI this ID. Okay. Now enter it. Now it says error because error from daemon or unable to delete this must forest image using stop container. Firstly, we need to stop the container. Means we need to remove the container firstly. So what we do, Docker RMI, this container ID is count, Control C, Control V. Then, okay, borrowed. Okay, no such image, 8055 latest. Okay, now what we do, Docker RMI, Docker RMI, my container name, Tasnimul. My container name is Tasnimul. So that's why I'm using this. Now enter it. Error from response daemon. Okay, I got it bigger. I'm using Zoom, so okay. Docker RMI. Firstly, I see the container. So Docker ps -a, all containers should be count. Now, what I do, Docker RMI container ID. This is container ID. Control C, Control V. Then container name. This is the container name. Okay, coding name. Control C, Control V. Okay. Now that will become. Okay, that is my mistake. So if any mistake will come, you can comment below. Okay. Guys, this Docker is not removing because this computer is sometimes problem. Okay. So now if I show the Docker log, so what we do, Docker log. Okay. Now Docker logs. Now enter. Now this is comes. Okay, this my uses is not come. Okay, Docker logs. What container we use? This container, Tasnimul container. Tasnimul. Okay. This is the Docker log. Server is running on 3000. This is the log of the Docker. So now what should I do? I clear it. Okay, now that is cleared. By clearing CLEAR, now when I see the troubleshooting, now what we do? Firstly, Docker container, Docker PS, okay. All the container is not running, Docker PS minus A, okay. That is the container ID, okay. Docker, yes, Docker. If I show the troubleshooting, means if any hackers are come to your website and install the data, and what should you do? If you see in the Docker, then you troubleshooting it by Docker exec container is tasnimul, and then /bin/bash. Now enter it. Okay, this is my container ID, so that's why it is not working. Docker exec. Now Docker exec container is this. Okay, this is the container ID. Okay, Control C, Control V. Now exec. Oh, firstly I need to run the Docker, means firstly I need to run the container firstly. Okay, Docker images, Docker PS minus A. Now Docker, what I do? Docker start container ID. Okay, Control C, Control V, enter. Now it will be, this will become, means our container is now running. Now clear it by clearing. Now Docker PS another time minus A. Now the container is now running up, status up. Now Docker PS, Docker PS not Docker exec container is this ID, container ID we input bin/bash/bin/bash, or it will be not work. Okay, enter. Okay, unable to start container xc ato. Now if that was not worked, so we go to our Docker. Okay, this is my Docker. Now containers, this is the container is now running. Now what should I do? I go to my Visual Studio Code and then another time Docker exec minus it exec container is tasnimul container, and then container name is done. Now /bin/bash. Okay, this will become, because that is the error function use. Now if I want to the Docker container use, so what should I do? I do Docker another time. If I use the exec container, so requires to Docker exe optional. Okay, now what I do, if I see the troubleshooting, so Docker exec minus it. Sorry guys, my command is wrong, so exec minus it Docker. Firstly, we see the Docker PS minus A. Okay. Now, Docker exec minus 8. Okay. Now, that is the port. Control C, Control V. Now, that time, I should /bin/bash. Okay. Now, done. Okay. If that not working, so what should we do? We do another Docker exec minus it container ID, and then bin /bin/sh. Okay, that is my wrong command. If that will happen, so we do that, you will be not an error face. This is my error. Okay. Docker bin /bash. Okay. As says. Now enter. OCM runtime failed. Unable to start container process. Okay. If that container is showing about, so what we do? Stop it firstly. Now start it. Okay. Now the Docker is running. Now the we go to Docker exe minus it. Control C, Control V, enter. Okay. It says no such file or dictionary. So that's why the Docker is not running. So clear it firstly. Now, if I show the network, so Docker network ls, you can see the networks. Now, if I create Docker network create network name Mongo network. Okay, now that was done. Now our network is created, Docker network ls. See that our Mongo network has been completed, so that's why this Docker is very expensive. This is, we created the Docker network, and this is the Mongo network. We created the Mongo network. With this Docker network create option, you can write in your netbook. Now another Docker RMI. My mind is now come to how to delete the Docker container. Firstly, I need to Docker PS not Docker images. Okay. Now and then Docker RMI image name, full image, means that is the image. Control C, Control V. Now in that, now when done, enter it. Now your image will be completed. Means your image is done. To remove it, now Docker rm not Docker ps minus a. Now Docker rmi rm this. Control C, Control V, enter. Error response to daemon. Okay. If that happens, so Docker rm another time Taslimul. My container name is Taslimul. So Docker rm Taslimul. Where is the name? This is the name. Docker name Taslimul. This is happen because I have a solution to remove that. If this command is not work, so what you do? Firstly you need to stop it. Okay, I start again. Okay, firstly I need to go to Visual Studio Code. Now I stop it. Docker stop that command. Okay, I open that clipboard. Stop. Now that time I remove the Docker rm Windows V. Okay, selected. Enter. Okay, now that was done. My mistake is, this is my mistake. You can write in your notebook. Now, if I go to Docker container, you can see that no container was here. And this is the image. The image is now unused. So that's why we use that Docker function. If have any questions, you write in my comment below. Okay. Now I am erase that another function I use. Okay. Guys, wait. Now if we need to add Docker, means network. If we create a network, what is a network? Network is a data center. If I have a example like this is my computer. This is my computer. Example, this is my computer. Okay, monitor, and this is my router. this is router. Okay, this is router, and it has been, the router is now go to the data center. Like this is a big data center hall. This is data center 1 and this is data center 2. Okay, now this is a computer. This is a website we called to come. Now what he do that when we command it, then it hit to the router and it hit to the data center, our national Bangladeshi data center. This is Bangladesh data center. Okay, like Bangladesh data center and India data center. Now when it hit it, now it go to the data section, means a MySQL data, like this data hall. Now when he collected the data, then the data, then it swaps to that computer. Then it will become to that computer. Means if we command a website, then when we click that website, then it hit enter to the go to the routers, and router data go to the main data center. This is the main data center, and the data center, when analyze it, then it go to the data section, means like MySQL data section, all over data 1200 data. Like then when we click the website, and then the data will be confirmed, then it swaps to our monitor and we see the website. Okay, that will happen to our networking. Okay, that will be happen to a networking. Now Docker, what he do, he have a local virtual network in our system, like localhost 3030. We created a app.js. Now this is the Docker local machine have the network, like Docker network ls. Okay, this is the Docker local network. This scope is this local network, and this is null, means not here anything here in the data. This is bridge, means bridge. Okay, this is the host we created. This is the bridge, means we created a data center. We minded to it is a data center that is so comfortable to our comfortable to any local host and private server. That is not a public server. If you want to public server, comment me below to if any good comment response will come. I will help him to make a I will make a Cloudflare public, to make a public HTML CSS website. So that is, if any comment is good, then I will respond it. Okay, and that is this network do. And if you want to create the network, so if you do Docker network create, the option will not come in the command prompt. If you in the git bash section, you can see the Docker network create option. Then create a new network. You create one new network. Okay, then you see the Docker network. When you see the command that Docker network lx, then you see that Mongo network. So that is my Docker course. If you like this Docker course, so subscribe to my channel and turn on the bell icon button. If I helped, so comment me below. Assalamualaikum.